Okay, so Mortal Kombat is one of the best video game movies ever made. It fully realizes several things about the almost 30-year-old franchise and is packed with some amazing Easter eggs, hidden details and things you missed. First launched all the way back in 1992, creators Ed Boon and John Tobias were brainstorming what to call the game and decided that instead of spelling combat with a C, that they would change it to a K in order to be able to trademark the term. Main character Cole Young actually remarks on this during the movie by doing what many fans did at the time and pointing out that it's spelled wrong. The creators' names also pop up in the movie itself when Jax remarks that Cole took the belt from Eddie Tobias, which is of course a combo of theirs. Cole is a descendant of the great ninja Hanzo Hazashi, who we see being murdered in the opening of the movie. Hanzo, or rather Scorpion, typically dons the colours black and yellow, and the lineage between the pair is hinted at by the fact that Cole constantly wears these colours too. His bag strap is black with a yellow handle on it, and even the bracelet that his daughter gives him shares this colour scheme, showing how it's all connected. Now the murder of Hanzo is very similar to how it plays out in the animated film Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge. However, the scene does change several things up, and in the games, the hit was ordered by Quan Chi. This was done so that the villain could gain a powerful member of his forces in the Netherrealm, and whereas typically it was just business, here it's rather personal. Now what the opening does beautifully is that it sets up the rivalry between Bi-Han and Hanzo that ultimately pushes most of the plot forward in the film. Scorpion gets his revenge at the end of the movie by pulling off his classic fire-breathing fatality, and this has appeared in several of the games. We can see that his mouth transforms into a skull, and when the character returns to the Netherrealm, you can also slightly make out his more demonic appearance, which too is a nod to the source material. Now though this feud lasted for centuries, Hanzo could have actually killed Bi-Han much earlier in the movie by using the buckets that he had at his home. In the original film, Liu Kang defeated Sub-Zero by doing the ice bucket challenge on him as he charged an attack. However, Hanzo decided to leave them behind, which is of course why he lost. Probably not why he lost, it's a reach, I'll admit. Now though it seems like Bi-Han, sorry that was bad, in the game franchise he actually comes back as a character called Noob Saibot. When discussing the antagonist, the creative team actually remarked that Sub-Zero dons dark clothes rather than the light blue he typically has because they wanted to foreshadow this transformation. Now his storyline also seems to be based on the character Erron Black, who was hired by Shang Tsung to assassinate challengers in Mortal Kombat X. He goes after Cole, who is saved by Jax, but after Sub-Zero disarms him and leaves him with a Cole shoulder, he has to fend for himself. I know I did that pun last video, but come on, yeah, that's a Cole pun, a Jax pun, and a Sub-Zero one. The like button's right there. Now during the movie, we see him pull off his fatality from the game, which is where he claps his hands together to crush someone's head. This has been present in several of the titles after first showing up in Mortal Kombat 2. During Jax's journey through the abandoned building, we can actually see graffiti on the wall that says "Downright LP", which is how you pull off Sub-Zero's ice attack on the arcade cabinet. Cole travels to Sonya Blade's house, and here we see a newspaper article for Nightwolf, a character that you might know from Mortal Kombat Annihilation and the third game onwards. Amongst the clippings is a vase with a centaur on it, which could be a nod to the character Mataro. There's also a cracked skull, which looks like one of the X-ray attacks from the games. We can also catch the character Kotal Khan, who took over Outworld after Shao Kahn's death. The character is actually riffing on the Mayan god of war Bulak Chaptan, hence why he's introduced here. It's at this point that we meet Kano, who we learn throughout the film has the arcana of carrying this entire movie on his shoulders. Much like his origins in the game, he is in fact a member of the Black Dragon. In the games, Kabal was too a part of this organisation, and he shows up later on in the film. Unlike the games though, Kabal blames Kano for his condition, whereas originally it was Kintaro who caused it. Kano actually saved him, which changes up things quite a lot from what we see here. Shang Tsung sends in Reptile after them, and he even calls him by his name Syzoth, which is what talking versions of the character have referred to themselves as. Reptile looks very similar to his version from Deadly Alliance, and he's able to turn invisible much like in the games. When going head to head with the villain, Kano rips his heart out, which is too a fatality that the character has had in several of the games. Kano says Kano wins, which is similar to what the announcers say in the series upon declaring victory for someone. These catchphrases also pop up throughout the film, and Kung Lao says flawless victory, which is what would be said if players defeated another without taking a hit. Liu Kang also says fatality, and there's also a moment when they're told test your might, which is a mini game from the series. Kano learns how to shoot lasers from his eyes, and at the end of the film, he gets stabbed in one by Sonya Blade. Whilst the character never has a false eye and metal plate over his face in the film, I really hope that he survived this attack and ends up coming back in the sequel, looking closer to how he does in the original games. Kano also says he's working on a graphic novel, which might be a nod to the comic series Raiden and Kano. Interestingly in that the pair were working together, but Kano betrayed him much like how he does in the film. Now from here the group travel to Raiden's temple, but along the way they get lost. This is because the GPS doesn't work, which might be a nod to the original movie in which Sonya's compass was rendered useless due to the island being an anomaly. Here they meet Liu Kang, and at one point he brings up Rai Cho. This was an outworld warrior who teamed up with the people of Earthrealm in order to fight Shao Kahn. However, because of his origins, he was unable to fight for Earth and instead spent millennia training Shaolin monks in the ways of Mortal Kombat. In the temple we see several murals of the previous winners, and huge shoutouts to everyone on our last video for pointing out that we can catch the Great Kung Lao, Delia, Argus, Goro and Shao Kahn amongst these. We also meet Kung Lao, descendant of the Great Kung Lao, which might be one of the worst lines of dialogue ever. I don't know why, it was just absolutely killing me. Now I've also just realised that I've not introduced myself. If this is your first time here, then welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka the guy that found an amazing Mylena costume in my mum's underwear drawer, and I'd love it if you stuck around here on the channel. We do videos like this each and every day, so make sure you subscribe, as it would be great to have you as part of the team. We're not doing any big fight against Outworld or anything, just would be nice to have you around. Now, the temple has lots of cool things going on in it, and this place is absolutely packed with Mortal Kombat Easter eggs. At one point we see the Amulet of Shinnok, which belonged to the villain. It's one of the most powerful weapons in Mortal Kombat lore, and could tease at the character coming down the line. We can also catch a blue steel fan, which is a weapon that is used by Kitana. Weirdly, she doesn't show up in this film, but her evil clone Mylena does, so it is possible that we may see her in the next entry. Liu Kang also keeps using the leg sweep on Kano, and I swear this used to annoy me so much back in the day. No matter what combo I did, some idiot would always just keep sweeping me all the time, and I tell you what Kano, I really feel for you, just kick the crap out the lad. Now eventually we get some amazing fights, and Kung Lao pulls off a fatality that's very similar to his one in the game. However, whereas Natara is split in half by her head, in the original it's done by the crotch. Kung Lao also has his soul sucked out of him by Shang Tsung, which itself is a fatality that belonged to the villain. He says your soul is mine, which is also a catchphrase of the character. Say it with me, your soul is mine. Terrible. Now I'm kinda gutted that they didn't do any shapeshifting with the villain, as I think it would have been great to see what happens, but hopefully next time they do more with the character that shows off his skill set. Kung Lao's death sucks, as he's one of the best characters, but in the series it's often been used to push the plot forward. He was first killed in Mortal Kombat 3, and since then has died more times than Kenny. After escaping into the void, the group decide to go into several fights, which takes them to multiple arenas across the planet. This includes the pit stage, which has been a mainstay in the series, and I tell you, I've uppercutted so many people off of these throughout the decades. It's actually my spam attack after the leg sweep one, I tell you. Oh, wait, I mean, don't use the spam attack, I said, I don't use that. Now, several fatalities from the game are brought up here, including Liu Kang's Dragon one, which has been something that has appeared in almost every game. Mylena is also shot through the abdomen, and we can see her spine through the wound, which too is similar to one of the fatalities from the source material. The film culminates with a tease towards Johnny Cage, who of course is a big character from the game. The poster is advertising a film called Citizen Cage, which was actually name dropped by Johnny during one of his introductions in the series. We can also see that his belt buckle has Cage written on it, which makes me think that the chest might have the Johnny tattoo from the games on, which I think would be absolutely hilarious in a sequel. Now, we don't know if the sequels are coming yet, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the movie and if we missed any Easter eggs, so make sure you comment below and let me know. As a thank you for interacting with the video, you'll be entered into a prize draw on the 30th of April, in which we're giving away 3 copies of Zack Snyder's Justice League in 4K. All you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like this, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the film. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our ending explained breakdown of the movie, which will be linked on screen right now. We've gone over the film from top to bottom and discussed what could be happening in a sequel, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. Out of the way, thank you for sitting through the video. I've been Paul. Now finish the video. I'll see you next time.